Torres is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. There are 45 million Americans who have no credit score, who have been deemed credit invisible or unscorable, according to an analysis by VantageScore expanding the scope of credit scoring to include alternative data like rent payments would generate a first-time credit score for about 33 million Americans. And of the 33 million, 13 million would have a credit score high enough to qualify for a mortgage. Ms. Spotzer, do you believe, as I do, that banks should originate mortgages based on credit scores that take into account alternative data like rent payments?
Yes, I think it's a very important concept, and I think we're very pleased and supportive of the Federal Housing Finance Agency's efforts to make sure that the GSEs pursue it.
Okay. Ms. Rainey, do you have any thoughts?
I think this is something that community banks do today, and it's something that I love about relationship lending is it's not just credit score driven. We're able to take into account many of those factors, and so I'm appreciative of anything that brings that information to the table.
There are 5.6 million households, 4.2% of the population that are unbanked, 19 million households, 14.2% of the population are underbanked. There's a national initiative known as Bank On that offers free or affordable bank accounts. In your experience, how effective has the initiative been at reducing the unbanked and underbanked population in the United States?
I don't have the information specific to Bank On, but I think so much of this is about education and creating pathways for folks to understand, to create connections to banks, and anything we can do to help with that is good.
Ms. Spotzer, do you have?
Well, I think education is important, but I don't think that's the reason why we don't have people are not getting access to bank accounts. I think it is the absence of service in communities that are traditionally underserved. One of the things that we've talked about is the absence or the consolidation of banks, but what we haven't talked about is the disappearance of bank branches by existing financial institutions in communities of color. And that has consequences that lead to an increase in lack of access and banking account opportunities for people of color.
In places like the Bronx?
In those places.
Mr. Torres, I'd like to add, we do offer Bank On accounts and are very proud to do so, and it has certainly allowed us to bank some of our unbanked population and help them so that they can get direct deposits at the bank and protect those, protect them from the risk of their checks going through the mail and payroll checks and other things. So we're very proud to be able to offer that.
In spring of 2023, the fear of contagion risk led the federal government to insure the uninsured depositors of SVB, Signature, and First Republic. If the federal government feels compelled by contagion risks to insure the uninsured at the back end, why not provide unlimited deposit insurance at the front end? In finance, as in healthcare, it would seem to me preventative medicine may be more cost-effective than emergency medicine. What do you make of that argument?
Well, I think there's a lot we need to talk about here, and I think that there's two pieces of this. One is the contagion effect. The agencies should have had the ability to implement a transaction account guarantee immediately so that we weren't talking about a contagion effect. And then as we think about ultimately reforms to the deposit insurance system, how are we ensuring that monies are safe regardless of the size of the institutions, and that
But indulge my hypothetical for a moment. In a world of unlimited deposit insurance, what incentive is left for a depositor to withdraw all their deposits from a bank?
Well, there is none, but there's also a cost that comes with that unlimited insurance. And so how that then creates a disproportionate burden on the smaller banks is the piece that we need to solve for.
And so how would you solve for that?
I would solve for it by thinking about a system of assessments that puts more of that burden on the largest institutions.
A tiered system of assessments.
Yes.
What do you make of the role of the federal home loan banks as emergency liquidity providers? It's been said that emergency liquidity from the federal home loan banks is much more accessible than the Fed discount window. What do you make of that role?
I think the federal home loan banks play a very critical role in terms of providing not just immediate liquidity, but liquidity over time that allow community banks to manage their balance sheets and have, like I said, given seasonal aspects, whatever it may be, they're very critical to banks' liquidity.
I see my time has expired. Thank you.